the United States launched a trade war against Canada, their closest partner and ally, their closest friend. At the same time, they're talking about working positively with Russia, appeasing Vladimir Putin, a lying, murderous dictator. Make that make sense.
It all started with a tax, just 3%, small on paper, massive in meaning. Canada wanted to charge US tech giants like Amazon and Google for doing business on their soil. But for Donald Trump, that wasn't policy, it was betrayal. Within hours, he pulled the plug on trade talks with one of America's oldest allies. No warning, no compromise, just tariffs, threats, and a promise to make them pay. But this wasn't just about numbers on a balance sheet. This was personal. Because when digital taxes become diplomatic weapons, when alliances turn into battlegrounds, and when ordinary families pay the price for global ego games, we have to ask, is Trump defending America's interests or torching its relationships? And more importantly, what does Elon Musk have to do with all of this? Because as the White House fires missiles of rhetoric northward, one voice stepped forward, louder, bolder, and unexpectedly critical. And that voice wasn't from Congress, it was Elon. And what he said shook the foundation of Trump's plan. But to understand why Elon turned on Trump, we need to rewind the clock and follow the money. Because what's coming next isn't just a trade fight. It might just be the start of a digital war. Stay with me. Canada didn't launch missiles, they levied spreadsheets. In 2024, they introduced a 3% digital services tax, targeting revenue from tech giants like Amazon and Google. But the kicker? It was retroactive to 2022, forcing US firms to cough up $2.7 billion. Canada framed it as digital fairness, but Trump saw blood in the water. He blasted it as a blatant attack on American innovation and labeled it discriminatory. And the word fairness became a political trigger. And suddenly trade wasn't about balance, it was about battlefield lines. The Oval Office grew louder as Trump leaned into outrage. This wasn't policy, this was theater. But what happens when you turn tax codes into war cries? On June 27th, a tweet, a shockwave. Trump declared trade talks with Canada were over. No warning, no negotiation, just a digital guillotine. And with it came a promise. Within 7 days, new duties would hit Canadian goods. We have every card, he said, like he was bluffing at a poker table, not managing international diplomacy. Markets flinched, stocks dipped, headlines exploded, and then rebounded, as if trying to shrug off the chaos. But uncertainty lingered. For workers, exporters, and even families running cross-border businesses, this wasn't abstract, it was payroll. It was livelihoods. So was this power play masterful strategy or economic brinkmanship in a tailored suit? What happens when economic policy becomes a one-man show? And this isn't Trump's first tariff rodeo. He's hit steel, aluminum, and autos. But digital services? That's new terrain. You can't touch it, but you feel it in your Netflix bill and Zoom license. And these aren't just economic weapons, they're invisible shrapnel. American families don't see tariffs on their receipts, but they feel them when prices quietly rise. Also, Trump pitched them as protection, as economic armor. But when shielding industries squeeze households, where's the line? Was this about fighting back or staging a political spectacle with Apple and Amazon as extras? And if your kid's favorite app costs more next month, will you know who fired the first shot? But Canada isn't an adversary. They buy over 15% of US exports, supply critical minerals for EVs, and share border lines and bloodlines with millions of American families. But Trump didn't target Europe, which imposed similar taxes. He didn't target China, the usual trade foe. He targeted Ottawa. Why? Some say because Canada's soft, cooperative, easy to pressure. Others suggest it was ego. Canada dared to tax American power, so Trump flexed. But if allies are treated like adversaries, what message does that send? Is that loyalty negotiable? That proximity invites punishment? What if America's friends begin looking for new ones? And this isn't just a tax dispute. It's a front line in the global digital Cold War. If Canada's tax holds, Brazil might follow. India might replicate, or maybe the EU might double down. Suddenly, the digital empire America built becomes taxable terrain for every nation it touches. But Trump's fury wasn't just about Canada, it was a warning shot to the world. But warnings go both ways. If tech giants face global levies, they may fragment, decentralize, or escape regulation altogether. What starts as policy could birth a digital arms race. And if the internet becomes a battlefield, who draws the maps? Also, tariffs don't live in boardrooms. They live in checkout lines and monthly bills. When a tariff hits digital services, the cost trickles down. Your Spotify bill jumps. Your kid's educational app adds fees. Small businesses relying on cloud storage, now paying double. Trump says this is about America first. But for families living paycheck to paycheck, what does that mean? That America's elite is prioritized while working-class households pick up the tab? Tariffs were pitched as punishment for foreign governments, but they're felt most by local families. How long can patriotism mask the pain at home? By June 30th, Canada hit pause. Prime Minister Carney suspended the tax, eyeing July 21st to resume trade talks. Trump declared victory. But was it? To some, Canada was pragmatic. To others, they caved. And it exposed how even assertive democracies can buckle under economic pressure. If taxes are tools of sovereignty, what message does backing down send? Critics say this sets a dangerous precedent that might beat right even among allies. So is diplomacy dead or just temporarily silenced? And if Canada swallowed its pride today, what will it be forced to swallow tomorrow? Here's the irony. Europe has had digital service taxes longer. France, Spain, Italy, all targeting US tech, but Trump spared them. He went after the neighbor who shares his language, culture, and Christmas tree traditions. Why? Because Canada doesn't bite back. Because it's easier to look tough against a snow-covered friend than a rival with nukes. But that optics game carries consequences. When bullies win, they come back for more. And if soft power becomes a weakness, what stops future US leaders from using allies as political punching bags? Canada insists the tax isn't anti-American. It's about taxing companies where they earn, not just where they're based. Local roads, local data, local dollars. But Trump framed it as a betrayal. His message? American firms owe allegiance only to Washington, no matter where they operate. That stance undermines global sovereignty. If nations can't tax commerce within their borders, are they truly sovereign? Or are they subsidiaries of Silicon Valley? And if the price of economic freedom is American fury, how many nations will choose submission over self-determination? And yes, he really said Canada could be the 51st state. A joke, maybe. A jab, perhaps. But it touched a nerve. Borders aren't punchlines. Sovereignty isn't a meme. When world leaders jest about annexation, tensions flare. The idea that Canada should join the US in exchange for trade perks or missile shields is less diplomacy, more imperial theater. And if Trump sees nations as chess pieces, how long until the board shatters? What's next? Mexico as State 52? While governments bicker, big tech watches. They're not loyal, they're mobile. If Canada becomes more stable, predictable, and diplomatically sound, it could lure innovation away from the US. Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. Each could become the next Silicon Valley. And if that migration starts, it won't stop at engineers. It means jobs, patents, capital, all shifting north. Trump's tariffs may defend US turf today, but could they hollow out its tech core tomorrow? So what's the takeaway? Leverage works, but it breaks things. Trade can unite, but weaponized, it divides. And every patriotic slogan has a receipt. Americans may rally behind strong rhetoric, but if their grocery bills climb and their jobs migrate, will they still cheer? Canada's tax wasn't just a policy, it was a mirror. It showed what happens when digital dominance collides with global fairness. And now America must choose. Use power to lead or to punish. Because every decision echoes in allies' hearts, in markets, in living rooms. And the next echo might be louder than we expect. And now here we are. One tax, one decision, one president is ready to blow up $1 billion relationship. Not with China, not with Russia, but with Canada. All while everyday Americans are left wondering, Why are we fighting our friends when inflation's rising and jobs are uncertain? Why are we threatening our neighbors with tariffs that make groceries more expensive, while ignoring bigger threats that could shake the global economy to its core? And amid all the noise, Elon Musk, once seen as Trump's unexpected tech ally, chose this moment to draw a line, to speak not just as a billionaire, but as a citizen worried about America's future. So now the question shifts from Trump versus Canada to Trump versus consequences. And maybe the biggest consequence is this: when powerful men turn policy into performance, who really pays the price? Because it's not just tech companies or prime ministers. It's families, it's workers, it's you. So now I want to hear from you. Is President Trump defending American strength or destroying trust? Was Elon Musk brave to speak out or just protecting his own empire? Should Canada hold the line or cave to American pressure? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading all of them. If this video made you feel something, anger, insight, curiosity, smash that like button. Subscribe for more bold, no-fluff breakdowns of power, politics, and how it all hits your wallet. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss what comes next. Because in this global chess game of leaders, leverage, and legacy, the next move could change everything.